I'm starting to think about supper early this morning. Ira brought home a little cold, and so Katie and Ira and Matt have been kind of feeling under the weather, so I was trying to think of something really hearty to make them. Matt and I have got some things, though, we need to do today outside. So I want to go ahead and get started this morning, so by the end of the day, maybe most of it will be ready. I'm going to make a pot of chicken and dumplings. I was prowling through the freezer and found 2 big, like, chicken breasts. I don't even remember where I got them, but I'm going to use those. Usually I like to use like kind of a whole chicken cut up, but this will be just fine. So I'm going to get those started cooking so that the chicken will be done when I'm ready to make the dumplings. I'm going to add some celery and carrots and onion, kind of saute them a little bit, then put the chicken in there with some water, probably some extra butter, and let it stew like that. I also brought up from the basement a jar of our green beans. We've already been eating some of them that we canned this year, but this is a jar of the Good Mother Stallard bean. This is the first time we've canned them. And you can see if maybe the camera's picking it up there. You can see those wonderful shellies in there and how big they are. That's because it's such a great big bean. It makes such a big bean, and I know those are going to be really good. Those look delicious. So I'm going to have those, and then also I'm going to have, which will be really easy, green beans will be easy to make, and I can get those going probably after dinner. Will be another easy thing just to go with it, is I'm going to bake some of our sweet potatoes, our white sweet potatoes that Matt and I harvested before our first frost. So I'm going to put those in the oven, so that's easy peasy, and then I'll make some cornbread. I don't know why chicken and dumplings have the dumplings, which is kind of like a bread. I love chicken and dumplings with my cornbread. I love it like spooned over the cornbread, just like I do beans and other things. So I'll definitely make a cake of cornbread. That will be a delicious supper, but hopefully it's kind of hearty and will help everybody get back on their feet and fight off the cold. You may notice here's my begonias that I saved from the frost too, and they're kind of looking a little bit bad. They've dropped off some flowers, which of course I expect they would do, but I already see like a little start of a root in there, which I think is pretty amazing. Now after I shared that video, a lot of people said, because I said, I don't have any windows really that the sun shines in a lot, except this one and the one over there in the kitchen. There is one on this end of the house too, in the living room, but again, we have a couch right there, so I can't really put the flowers in there. But a lot of you suggested, well, Tipper, why don't you get your grow lights out? The grow lights that we start our peppers and our cabbage and things like that under in the spring of the year, early spring. And I could do that, but I don't want to do that. I don't care that much. That would just be something that I'd have to take care of. Really, the only place where we usually put them at that time of the year is we put them in the living room. So thinking about the holidays and just all winter, I just don't want to do that. Plus I think it would be it'd use a lot of electricity for just a little bit of flowers. So I'm just going to try them in the water. That is great though, and I didn't even think of that, but basically I'm too lazy to do all that. So I'm just going to see if they root, and if they live in the water, I'll plant them, and if they don't, I'll go buy some more from Pat and Betty at Satterfield's. But I've got them sitting right here for now. I'm going to try to put them, I could put them just beside my dishwater over here, but they'll probably get knocked around and dirty and things like that. So I'll probably try to just put them somewhere over on the buffet at that other window and hope enough light comes in there. It'll just be an experiment, and we'll see what happens. I know with Granny's window that she gets a lot of sunshine in. She's rooted all kinds of things when I was young. There would often just be several little bottles or kind of vases with different flowers in them, and you could see the roots floating around, and then finally Granny would take them out and plant them, or plant them in a flower pot and put them around the house. So I'm hopeful that will work, but we'll just see. It'll just be an experiment. So I'm going to chop up the vegetables, and then we'll get the chicken going. Still drinking on my morning shake there, but I've about drunk it all. My celery was really pitiful, so this is really only 3 stalks, and they're kind of pitiful too. I'll have to get rid of part of them on the ends there. Now I have a video about chicken and dumplings where I really go into depth and talk about it much more, so I will link to that if you're interested. When we get to the dumpling part, it'll be interesting to see how many of you, there's just different types of dumplings. There's like the big fluffy kind of like biscuits sitting on top, and a lot of people do that. That's what they like and prefer. Granny likes that. That's kind of what she does. I like the ones that are sometimes called slicks. They're thin and chewy. And after I did that chicken and dumplings video, the first one I did a long time ago here on YouTube, several people said, why you didn't make dumplings, you made pasta. So I guess it is kind of more of like a flat, chewy, I don't know. Maybe it is kind of similar to pasta. I hadn't thought about that. I've heard a lot of people call them slicks though, because you make them kind of flat and square and they slip around, I guess. I don't know if that's why or not, but that's when I've heard slicks, that's what I always think of. Matt had to run to town to take care of a few things, so he doesn't know. He will be pleasantly surprised and excited when he comes home and I tell him I'm going to make some chicken and dumplings. He should be here any minute. It's also going to be good. We've had a lot of rain here. We had a really rainy weekend, especially yesterday. It rained all day. It was like a cold, cold rain too. So I think it's supposed to warm up this week, but this will feel good. Kind of, again, hearty and warming, so it'll be a good meal for us. I'm going to go over to the stove now and get these started. So I'm adding a little bit of olive oil before I put in my vegetables. I do have my chicken and dumplings recipe in mine and Jim's cookbook, Celebrating Southern Appalachian Food. I think it's page 64. I'm doing it a little bit different today because I'm going to saute the vegetables instead of just putting them in with the chicken and letting them boil. I just think it sometimes, I don't know if I think it gives a deeper flavor or what. I guess it just depends on the day is the truth of it, how I do it, and how big of a hurry I'm in. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. But you could do it either way. You could saute them a little bit and then add the chicken like I'm going to do today, or you could just add it all at one time and boil them together, and it will still be good. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper while these are cooking. A lot of recipes like chicken and dumplings, ones like that kind of tried and true recipes. It's good to have a basic recipe when you're first learning how to do something, and then kind of as you become a more experienced cooker, as Corey would say, you can kind of mold it to your preferences. But also you still have that basic recipe. There's so many things like that. You think about potato salad, chicken and dumplings. I mean, gosh, all kinds of things like that. You know the basics of how to do it, and then you can kind of make it to fit your taste and your family's taste. So I'm just going to let these cook, I don't know, 5 or so minutes probably. I'm going to put the lid on them. And you could put whatever other kind of flavorings or seasonings for flavor that you wanted to, but I just put salt and pepper. Would you like to see what I have? The beginnings of chicken and dumplings. Make you feel better, maybe? My chicken's kind of still frozen, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. You can see how big the breasts were. And usually if I use all cut up pieces, there's more fat, of course, than it's on those. So since I don't have as much fat, I'm going to add some butter in there. And then I'm going to cover it with water. I have to get more water. That might be enough. Let me kind of nestle that one down in there. Put a little bit more water since I'm going to let it cook for a while. And then I'll just let it stew until the chicken's done, and I'll take it out and take the chicken off the bones and all that and get ready to make my dumplings, but I'll show you that part. a little bit later in the day. My chicken is done. I've got it out cooling right here, and then I'll shred the meat off of the bones and be ready to make my dumplings. I'm gonna go ahead and get my beans started though. I did not get something to open the lid. Matt and I was gonna work outside, but it's not warmed up like they said it was going to, and he feels, you know, kind of crummy, so I convinced him not to do that, to wait for another day. So I've been working on some videos, and he's been doing some stuff in the basement where it's warmer. So did not end up working outside, but that's okay. There's always plenty to do. So this is the beans, and because they are so big, like I was talking about those Mother Stallards, the beans, it pretty much cooked up all the liquid that was in them. So I'm just gonna pour it all in there. Oh, they look so creamy and good. It's gonna be delicious. This is the first time we've ever canned any of them. We've only grown them for 2 years, and we discovered that we really liked them, but we just eat them fresh like green beans, and so we've not canned any till this year. So I think they're gonna be just as good as they are fresh though. So I have some, I can smell that wonderful fresh green bean scent. I need to get some salt and maybe a little pepper. Put a little salt to begin with. And normally we would season our beans with, you know, fatback bacon, something like that. I'm just going to use bacon grease today. So I'll just take kind of the easy way out and use some of our bacon grease. And then I'm just going to add some water and wash all the salt and pepper that I got all over this, and cook them on the stove. I'll put in more water than probably they need, because I'm going to let them cook for a while, and that water will cook down for sure. So I'm going to put these on the stove, get those started, and then start thinking about my dumplings there. And I'm trying to debate, is it time to start them, or should I wait a little bit longer? I need to wait for a few minutes at least to let my chicken cool down. It's so hot right now. I'll just make it easier if I wait. I'm being serenaded while I cook. Katie's back there playing her fiddle, and Ira sounds like he's dancing along and screaming a little bit, encouraging her, positive screaming this time, so that's good. I got the chicken all shredded up, and I'm ready to make the dumplings. As far as those vegetables that I put in the chicken and dumplings, you can strain those out, and if you do that, they make a real tasty snack with crackers. I eat them like that sometimes, or you can just leave them in there. I'm going to leave them in there today. So now I'm just going to mix up the dumplings. This is the cookbook, mine and Jim's cookbook, and I'll tell you what you need. This is for those thin, chewy dumplings, not the big fluffy ones. So we're going to need 2 cups all-purpose flour. We'll just do it as I go over the ingredients. I'll just get them out here. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I think everything else I didn't get I guess I did get everything. Got some of it. Okay, there's our 2 cups of flour. We might need some more flour to roll out, so I'm just going to put some in this, and hopefully that'll be enough. Move that out of our way. So we've got our 2 cups of flour. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And we're going to combine all this, so I'll just go ahead and as I'm going, combine. So we're going to need 2 teaspoons of the baking powder. 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to need a 1/3 cup shortening or lard, whatever you prefer to use. I've got that here. And then also you're going to need that broth that you've got, 2/3 cup of it. So I went ahead and got some out. You can see how rich it is. Now I added, as it was cooking, because it began to cook down, I added a little bit more water. and I added a little bit of chicken stock that I had in the refrigerator, probably about that much in the bottom of a box of chicken stock. Chicken and dumplings is like other things. You may like yours, I mean, it's personal preference as far as thick, like, you know, you've probably seen people's chicken and dumplings that are really thick, like a thick gravy, and that's what they love. I love the brothiness, so I don't like for mine to be thick. So you can adjust that even after you put the dumplings in. If you think it's too thick, you can add a little bit more liquid. It's harder to make it thick, although you could mix up some flour and water and make it thicker if you got it too thin. But I like mine on the thin side, the brothy side. Better to soak into my cornbread. So I did add some extra water and some chicken stock from the refrigerator, and this is though what I got out of that. It looks really rich though with that chicken cooking in it. I added the butter, started out with olive oil, so it ought to be really rich, shouldn't it? So I'm just going to mix around all my ingredients here, and then I'm going to add what I'm actually using is, I guess, like a kind of shortening, but it's avocado oil. Have you ever seen that? Like, we use a lot of avocado oil, and I seen that they had shortening, avocado shortening, and I thought, wonder if how that would work. And I've used it in cookies and a few things like this, and it works pretty good. It works pretty good. So that's what this is. But shortening or lard, if you have it, that would be great. Use my spatula here to get all that off. Okay, and then we're just going to cut it in with your, I might keep that. Cut it in with your pastry knife, or you could use your fingers if you're really good at doing that. I'm not. Or you could use 2 knives, just you're going to break it up in there. Whatever method you prefer. And try not to sling it all out like I do. And you're just looking for it to be crumbly. Okay, I've got it broke up pretty good, pretty crumbly. So now I'm ready to add that broth. And I think my cookbook says use a fork, but use whatever you have. It makes a really soft dough. Part of that is because that broth is warm, so kind of melts it all together a little bit. So you just want to stir it up till it kind of comes together. I'm going to use my hands because I'm going to end up using them. So you can see it pretty quickly comes into a dough. That liquid really helps with that. Try to make sure I get it all in there though. Then I'm going to sprinkle out some flour. I'll knead it just a time or two to make sure it's all come together. And then we'll just roll it out. I guess you could pinch it off if you wanted to do it like that, but again, I'm looking for those thin, chewy dumplings. So I'm going to roll it out. Let me get a roller. And you want it to be like about 1/8 of an inch thick, so that's pretty thin. I suppose you could make them thicker than that if you wanted to. And the first time that I ever made them and realized, you know, I'd only had, well, I guess I'd had maybe similar to this at church functions and things like that, but first time I made the recipe and really liked it, I was really precise, and I made my dough square and measured my dumplings and made sure they were exactly uniform. I don't do that no more because it don't matter. You can't tell after they cook. You can't tell if it was square to begin with or not. And so I don't do that anymore, but I did in the beginning, but it's not necessary. Still tastes wonderful and you can't even tell. So I think I've got it thin enough. Now I'm just gonna get a knife so I can start cutting them. I'll lay one out. And again, there's really no rhyme or reason. The first time I was like real careful, made them all the exact same size. I mean, I aim for that now, but I think like maybe was 2 inches by 2 inches is what I used to try to do, but I just go for it now. And some of them are uniform and nice, and some of them are, you know, really wonky. I'll show you a wonky one here in a minute. And then over here on the edge, I'm not going to be able to have a thick enough one. So they're really going to be that way. And then just go cut them the other way. I've already had chicken and dumplings on my mind even before Ira got the cold and shared it with Matt and Katie, because I was sharing in one of my recent videos when I was doing my big day of cooking about how Miss Cindy made chicken and dumplings for me, a great big pot after I had Corey and Katie, and then we froze, or she froze individually, like packages of them, and then I could have them on a day that, you know, I was just so tired from taking care of babies, and how nice that was. So I was already thinking about chicken and dumplings. And then this morning I thought, what could I make that's really hearty that would make everybody feel better? And then I found the chicken. Anyway, so you can see that one was on the side. It's kind of wonky, and then the ones, you know, the ones in the middle are more uniform, square. But they'll all be good. And then some of them, there's a little bitty tiny one, so they'll all be okay though. I'm gonna get a plate and see if I can kind of lay them on it, and then we'll go over to the broth and put them in. Probably should put a little bit of flour down, make sure they don't stick to my plate. I didn't cut these all the way in two, so I'm gonna have to kind of break them apart as I go, it looks like. I need to get, really the only thing I've got left to make is my sweet potatoes. I've got to bake them. I'm going to go find a couple and clean them up and then get them ready to bake. I guess I probably should put reaching in the wrong bowl, a little bit more flour to keep these from sticking on top. And my cornbread, which is, I could pretty much cook cornbread in my sleep, so that won't be no big deal. And I think this is going to be a real good supper. And hopefully it'll make everybody feel better. Okay, so I've got a whole pile of slicks. Let me clean up my hands and we'll drop them in. So I've added the chicken back in and brought it back to a boil, and now I'm going to start putting the little dumplings in. I might should have got a bigger pot, huh? Just thought 2 pieces of chicken wasn't going to be that much, but it was I guess they were great old big pieces of chicken. So sometimes when you're doing this, you think, oh my goodness, the dumplings, they'll never all fit. Oh, they will. Just, I go around the sides, go back to the middle. Once they kind of cook for a minute, they really won't stick together. And if they do, it just means you get a bigger dumpling, right? So now that I've got them in, I'm going to cover them and let them cook for about 30 minutes. Maybe I'll press a little bit down. Come on, dumplings. And then I'll just keep them warm as they'll really be done at that point. But I will keep them on just like on low and let them just kind of sit here and marry and get all delicious until the sweet potatoes and the cornbread get ready. And as the dumplings cook, they will thicken the broth some. Now again, I like mine on the thin side, but they will, as you know, because they've got flour in them, and as they cook, they'll begin to thicken a little bit. Okay, I think we fit them all. Okay, I'll press them all down, and then I'm going to put a lid on them and let them cook for about 30 minutes. Dumplings are cooking away over there. They're just about done. I'm going to go ahead and put the sweet potatoes in. And they're so pretty. It's the ones me and Matt grew. This one had a bad place, so I cut it. Used to, I would always stab them a few times, which I probably don't need to since that one had to be cut on. Used to, I would always wrap them, me and Matt. And then several years ago, we were somewhere, many years ago now, and people that were cooking for us, they just put them in a dish, like me and Matt would just wrap them in tin foil and put them in the oven. And they put olive oil all over them and some salt, and they were so good. So ever since then, Matt and I started doing our orange taters and our sweet taters like that. You see my old pan that I use, the old pie plate. It's really seen better days, but then it doesn't matter if it, you know, what happens to it in the oven, or if when you bake potatoes, especially using oil like this, a lot of the times some of the juices will come out mixed with the oil, and it's hard to get off, in other words. So these little pans work good for it. So I just rub them around good, salt them good, and then they'll be ready to go in the oven. It makes the skin delectable too, so you can eat it. I usually bake mine at 450, whether it's an orange tater or a sweet tater like this. And I found that sweet taters take way less time. So for an orange tater this size, I want it to go like an hour really, because I want it to be really, really done. Sweet potatoes, in my experience, don't take that long. So maybe about 45 minutes, sometimes depending on the size and depending on just kind of the quality of the sweet potato, 30 minutes might do it. So we'll see how long it takes today. Now that I've got those in, the only thing left is the cornbread. And I'm going to let those cook a little bit before I come and get ready to do the cornbread. Dumplings are looking fantastic, and I've already tasted them, and they are delicious. So that's going to be great. I just put my pan in the oven, got some lard on it so that it can heat up so I can make the cornbread. I got two of the sweet potatoes out because they're done. One of them, the biggest, kind of fattest one's not done. I left it in. And then my green beans are done. So as soon as I get the cornbread ready, we'll be able to eat. I think my pan's about hot, so I'm going to mix up my cornbread. So the cornmeal I like to use, I used to love White Lily, and it's still okay, but I fell in love with the Daniel Boone cornmeal. And this is self-rising, so it's already got the leavening in it, so I don't have to worry about that. Makes really good cornbread. And I've got 2 cups. I'm going to use 2 cups. Move that out of the way. And then I've got 1/4 of a cup of oil. I've got avocado oil. You could use olive oil. You could use vegetable oil, whatever kind of oil you want. And then when I'm almost out of milk, instead of milk, I'll use a can of, we call it cream, evaporated milk. So I'm going to add that. And then it won't be enough liquid, so I will just fill up the rest of it with water. I'll just use water. You could use milk. You could use buttermilk, of course, but I'm just going to use water. So that gets me up to about the 1.5 mark. And then I've got an egg. Some people don't put egg in their cornbread, but I do. Granny did, so I do. Put that right on top of my cup, maybe. I'll just beat it up a little bit. And I'll pour it in to my oil and cream and water and mix it up. think I'm ready to get my pan, but I want to mix it up first. I thought I had a mixer. I did. Put it in the dishwater. Okay, now get it mixed up. I'm excited about the chicken and dumplings. They tasted so good, so good. And I'm excited about those sweet potatoes too. I know that's gonna be so good. And nice to think about how they were just growing right out there. Got my pan smoking here. Take it about 20 minutes at 450, and then we'll be ready to eat. Just getting the cornbread out. Oh, beautiful. Where I'm gonna put my pan though. Chicken and dumplings. I think I'm just going to set them right here, and since I'm leaving them in the pot, I'm just going to leave the green beans in the pot too. I'm wondering if I should get out any kind of pickles or anything like that. Crunchy and crispy. I think I'm going to set out some coleslaw. We've been eating on this jar. You can see it's almost gone. And then some of the Sautéing tomato pickles too, just in case anybody wants them. I think we're ready to eat, so I'm going to go see if I can find Matt. Would you rather have a bowl for your chicken and dumplings? You don't put it over your cornbread like I do.
Yeah, probably better. Just make a great big mess if I don't.
I've already tasted them, and they may be the best chicken and dumplings I've ever made.
Well, they sure do look good.
I don't know. They're always good, but they just seemed especially good today. It may just be that we've not had them in so long.
Well, they sure look nice.
And our white sweet potatoes. This is some of our Mother Stallard, the first jar we're trying of them. Look at all those shellies, how big they cooked up. Ain't that great?
Gosh, yeah. It's gonna be enough to bust me.
I didn't know if you wanted any pickles or anything, and I didn't get you a spoon, so you're gonna have to get one.
These things are good.
They are so good.
I probably ought to drink some of this juice. It might knock this mess out of me.
It might help you. Get you a big drink of it.
Man, it's gonna be good.
It'll be so good. Of course, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to crumble up my cornbread and then put my chicken and dumplings over top of it. It's going to be so good. Some of the beans. Sweet potato. Well, cooked to perfection. It's really easy to bake them, of course. It's just usually the way we eat them. Somebody's excited to eat. I think somebody's excited to eat. He also just likes to scream. Okay, let me taste the chicken and dumplings here. Got to get the perfect bite, like a little bit of carrot, a little bit of cornbread, a little bit of chicken, and a little bit of dumplings. And it's going to be hot. Probably burn me. So good. I don't know why, but the crumbliness of the cornbread just seems to go perfectly with that soft chewiness of the dumpling. Of course, the flavor of the chicken and the broth. Have you tasted it yet, Matt?
No, I'm just in the fog. I'm not having to make any trips.
So good. Gotta try the white sweet potatoes. They're hot too.
Oh, yeah. Believe you're
So
right,
many-
that may be your best.
May be my best.
one.
I told you it was good. A lot of people ask about the white sweet potatoes when we talk about why we like them the best. What do they taste like? They're sweet, but they're just not as sweet as the orange ones. I like the orange ones too, but I just prefer the white ones. They're just not as sweet, but they're still sweet. And I know the beans are going to be really good too.
Golly.
I was hoping, since this is the first jar that we've opened, that they would have that same velvety kind of mouthfeel that they do when we cook them fresh, and they do. Have you tasted them? They have that same feeling. We're gonna have to plant even more of them next year. One of them big long rows may have to be Mother Stallards.
It was top notch.
They are. That is delicious. They are really good. Really, really good. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me today as I made something hearty for my family to eat on this day, especially since they're kind of feeling under the weather. Hope none of you are feeling under the weather. We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia. And if you've not picked up a copy of mine and Jim's cookbook, I don't know where I've put it now, but I'll leave that information in the description below. I'm going to go enjoy the chicken and dumplings.